This video takes us back into the early world of Bristol, using old paintings, engravings, and travelers' sketches. Images created by people who stood in these very places and recorded what they saw. With these scenes, and with modern reconstruction tools, we can step into Bristol long before the city we know today emerged. Let's begin at the harbourside. Harbourside, mid-1700s. When we arrive at the historic harbourside in the mid-18th century, the atmosphere shifts instantly. This was one of the busiest ports in Britain, and the images from the time show a harbour packed with energy. Tall ships crowd the water, their masts rising above the rooftops. Small boats dart between them, carrying goods and ferrying workers. Merchants pace the quayside, shouting instructions as barrels, crates and sacks are unloaded. The air would have been thick with smells: tar, salt water, grain and smoke from nearby workshops. Rope makers work along long, straight buildings near the water coopers hammer new hoops around barrels. Sailmakers stretch great sheets of fabric across the ground. Every part of the harbour feels purposeful, alive. Behind the waterfront, we see rows of warehouses built from stone and timber. Their heavy doors are thrown open, showing piles of goods stacked inside. Sugar, glassware, pottery, wool. Even in the early morning, the docks buzz with movement, a reminder that Bristol's prosperity flowed directly from this waterway. From the harbour to the city lanes. As we move inland from the harbour, the scene narrows and darkens. Paintings from the 1700s show small, twisting streets spreading into the older part of the city. These paths were laid centuries earlier, and their uneven shapes reflect generations of growth. The houses lean toward each other slightly, with timber beams and jettied upper floors casting shadows onto the streets below. Shopkeepers stand at open windows, calling to passers-by. Bakers pull fresh loaves from stone ovens. Children weave between carts. The noise of the harbour fades behind us, replaced by the sounds of everyday city life. Steps on cobblestones, the rumble of wheels, voices echoing between close-set buildings. These narrow lanes lead us to a place that has survived through centuries of change. St. Nicholas Market. St. Nicholas Market, early 1800s. This image from the early 19th century brings us into the heart of Bristol's trading life. St. Nicholas Market. St. Nick's was already a bustling centre long before its modern form took shape. Here we see rows of stalls under covered arcades. Wooden counters overflow with fresh produce, spices, textiles and handmade goods. Farmers from the countryside arrive at dawn with carts of vegetables, eggs and meat. Traders unpack boxes of imported goods from the harbour, only a short walk away. What stands out in these early illustrations is the density of activity. People move in every direction, buyers examining cloth, children carrying baskets, vendors shouting prices across the hall. The architecture feels sturdy and civic, with heavy columns and tall windows that let in narrow beams of light. Even on busy days, there's a sense of order. Stalls laid out in neat rows, traders grouped by their wares, the hum of conversation rising and falling like a tide. Despite all the change that Bristol has seen, St. Nick's remains one of the closest connections we have to the city's older rhythms of trade. City centre, 19th century Bristol. When we step out of the market and into the wider city centre, the landscape opens. A painting from the mid-1800s shows a Bristol transforming into a modern city. Wide streets begin to replace the old medieval lanes. Horse-drawn carriages move along cleaner, more organised roads. New stone buildings rise where timber houses once stood. This was the period when Bristol began reshaping itself, expanding, rebuilding, and preparing for a new century. We see construction cranes on the skyline, scaffolding on civic buildings, and wider bridges being built over the river. From gas lamps appear along the streets for the first time, bringing light to areas that once faded into darkness at night. Yet even here, echoes of the past remain. Small alleys branch off into older quarters, church spires stretch above the newer rooftops, and at the heart of the city, people continue doing what they have always done. Walking, trading, talking, gathering. The pace of life is quicker than before, but the soul of the city still feels familiar. Upward toward Clifton. As we move uphill from the bustle of the city centre, the noise softens again. Illustrations from the early 19th century
This video takes us
Clifton
back
as
into
a
the
rising
early world
suburb,
of Bristol,
quiet,
using old paintings,
airy and lined with
engravings,
elegant
and
Georgian
travel
houses.
sketches.